I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Welcome to the Revelation 13 podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Revelation 13 podcast. I'm your host, Mike Hopwood, and today we are continuing our look into the year 2012 and the events that might occur within that year. First episode, we went over a bit of the Mayan calendar, the crystal skulls, and Quetzalcoatl. Now we're going to look at the return of Nibiru, a planet that supposedly orbits our solar system every 3,600 years. This story is propagated by Zecharia Sitchin and others, and Wikipedia summarizes his work as this. In recent years, the work of Zecharia Sitchin has garnered much attention among ufologists, ancient astronaut theorists, and conspiracy theorists. He claims to have uncovered, through his retranslations of Sumerian texts, evidence that the human race was visited by a group of extraterrestrials from a distant planet in our own solar system. Part of his theory lies in astronomical interpretation of the Babylonian creation myth, the Enuma Elish, in which he replaces the names of gods with hypothetical planets. However, since the principal evidence for Sitchin's claims lies in his own personally derived etymologies and not on any scholarly agreed interpretations, including scholars among the Sumerians themselves, his theories remain, at most, pseudoscience to the vast majority, if not in the totality of academics. Sitchin's theory proposes that the planets Tiamat and Nibiru. Tiamat supposedly existed between Mars and Jupiter. He postulates that it was a thriving world in a much differently shaped solar system, with jungles and oceans, whose orbit was disrupted by the arrival of a large planet or a very small star, less than 20 times the size of Jupiter, which passed through the solar system between 65 million and 4 billion years ago. The new orbits caused Tiamat to collide with one of the moons of this object, which is known as Nibiru. The debris of this collision are thought by the theory's proponents to have variously formed the asteroid belt, the moon, and the current incarnation of the planet Earth. To the Babylonians, Nibiru was the celestial body or region sometimes associated with the god Marduk. The word is Akkadian, and the meaning is uncertain. Because of this, the hypothetical planet Nibiru is sometimes also referred to as Marduk. Sitchin hypothesizes it is a planet of highly elliptical orbit around the Sun. When the pre-Helion passage, some 3,600 years ago, an assumed orbital period of about 3,750 years, he also claims it was the home of a technologically advanced human-like alien race, the Anunnaki, who apparently visited Earth in search of gold. These beings eventually created humanity by genetically crossing themselves with primates and thus becoming the first gods. Beginning in 1995, websites such as Zeta Talk have identified Nibiru or Planet X as a brown dwarf currently within our planetary system, soon to pass relatively close to Earth. Sitchin disagrees with the timing of passage. Sitchin also postulates that Pluto began life as Gaga, a satellite of Saturn, which due to gravitational disruption caused by Nibiru's passing was flung into orbit beyond Neptune. Zecharia Sitchin's ideas over the years have taken off, and he's very popular with ufologists and the people in the paranormal community. In many ways, he's like a Von Daniken who started a process where it allowed the whole community of UFOs and the paranormal to really be heightened because it created a giant interest. Having said that, it doesn't mean that there's still problems with Sitchin's work. And like Von Daniken, who people said he was very sloppy in his work and making conclusions that weren't necessarily effective conclusions. And that's almost the problem with Sitchin's work, because he bends meanings to fit his ideas. Michael Heiser, who has a PhD in Hebrew and Bible language and ancient Semitic languages, has very effectively shown his errors. And if you go to his website, you can see them there. And also, he's been on Coast to Coast AM several times and discussed this matter. Of the mistakes that Sitchin has made in translations. But because the idea that Sitchin may be wrong about certain things or stretches it, it doesn't mean that a planet or some sort of body isn't coming past the Earth or potentially crashing into the Earth. Especially around 2012. I mean, Sitchin, I don't think ever agreed with his Nibiru coming in 2012. But in a way, it doesn't matter, because whether it's a planet or a comet, that can come at any time, and whether it's an elliptical orbit or anything like that, the potential for the Earth being hit by something out in space is high. But Sitchin's idea of another planet in our solar system or out there isn't really unique, although in up until recent times, science had never really found any. But they've been finding them over the years now. So far they've found 300, all which seem to be way far out of the solar system, and gas giants. But even before that, other people have claimed knowledge of other planets. Such as Joseph Smith, founder of the Mormon Church, claimed knowledge of a number of extrasolar objects, such as Kolob, the star planet nearest the throne of God. L. Ron Hubbard, who's the founder of Scientology, proposed the Galactic Confederacy, which consists of 26 stars and 76 planets. So this idea, the thought that there are other planets out there, isn't really new, and of course we found other planets. So there are planets. Now, whether there's a planet coming like Nibiru that might cause its destruction, that's a different story. But coming back to NASA, they possibly discovered this planet, which is also called Planet X, back in 1983. In January of 1981, several daily newspapers carried a report that Dr. Richard Harrington and his colleague, Dr. Thomas Van Flandern, of the U.S. Naval Observatory, had told a meeting of American Astronomical Society that irregularities in the orbit of Pluto indicated that the solar system contained a 10th planet. A similar story was run by the New York Times on the 19th of June, 1982. 1 year later, from the 82 article, in 1983, the newly launched IRAS, infrared astronomical satellite, quickly found Planet X, a heavenly body as large as Jupiter and part of the solar system, has been found in the direction of the constellation of Orion by an orbiting telescope, wrote the Washington Post. In August of '88, a report by Harrington calculated that its mass is probably 4 times that of Earth. In '92, Harrington and Van Flandern published their findings and their conclusion that there is an intruder planet